You know, I'd expect any review of this new album by Slick Rick, Victory. I'd expect any review to start off like, the ruler's back, everybody, hip-hop royalty, Slick Rick the ruler, here we go. And that's how you'd expect it to be, and that's a logical way to start. You know, he is an absolute legend, hailed as one of the most important figures in the history of the old school, and yet I would argue he's still somewhat underrated. I mean, Children's Story belongs right up there with Rapper's Delight, and La Di Da Di, I don't know, belongs there with Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just not only one of the best rap songs ever recorded, one of the best songs ever recorded. That's what you'd expect to be the beginning of any kind of review, but it's maybe a little bit ahistorical. I mean, he's Slick Rick the ruler, right? But, like, did he ever rule? Did he ever really rule anything? All right, let's talk about this. Because the thing I want to get to is that Slick Rick has a legacy, that is for sure. But it's a complicated legacy. He's a kind of a complicated guy. So there's a song in the middle of this album called I Did That. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song where he just stakes his claim for why he's important. And everything he says is accurate. I am British, I am Jamaican, I am American. I did that. Perfect, right? Describing how his story is not just the story of growing up in the Bronx in America in the 70s and 80s, like so much hip-hop is about, but also about the immigrant experience of moving from England when he was 11, and even when he was in England, being perceived of as an outsider, as a Jamaican immigrant, okay? So just right off the bat, you have so many different stories implied in just that one sentence. You're able to tell many generations of complex post-colonial history and immigration stories just in that opening idea. He talks about himself as the storyteller. That's basically what he's best known for, as being one of, if not the best storyteller in the history of rap, or at least like the foundational storyteller. Like if Rakim was the person who taught rappers that they could rap at a higher level, Slick Rick was the one who taught them that they could tell stories. Although, of course, going back to Rapper's Delight, he wasn't the first, but he was definitely the most influential. He talks about being sampled over 800 times. Yeah, man, he's been sampled more than 800 times. He's been here we go. And it goes a little something like this. I mean, how many times have you heard Slick Rick sampled? He talks about his influence in fashion, about getting Clark's Wallabies off the ground. We'll be talking more about Ghostface Killah later on in this review. He talks about, he was the first guy, really, not the first guy, well, he popularized the gold chain look, the wearing tons and tons and tons of gold chains in rap music. He talks in the song about when people were pushing Benzes, he was pushing Rolls Royces. Like he was talking about how much he pushed luxury and consumer goods to a higher level. Which is good? Like that's good? I don't know. I'm not sure, right? As Justin Hunt says, I am not in the proper... I lack the context. I lack the perspective to properly contextualize the life of Slick Rick or the life of any rapper who comes from virtually nothing and attains riches through their brilliance and success. So I'm not going to say that, okay, ostentatious show of wealth is always bad, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure rap is better off for being about Rolls Royces instead of Mercedes Benzes. And he doesn't mention a couple other things. He is credited, and realistically is, the first rapper to popularize using the word bitch in a rap song, off the aforementioned La Di Da Di. He is, to my mind, the first very public, very well-known rapper to go to jail for shooting his cousin for many complicated family reasons. So, it's a complicated legacy. He says in this little interlude, I represent the bottom and through the top. He goes through his entire discography, which is a great discography. 5 albums, okay? The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, which is an album I own. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. It's an album, just an all-time rap album. If you were to do a best 10 rap albums of the 1980s, it's on there, and it might be towards the top 5, right? It's an amazing, amazing, amazing album, mostly self-produced. I remember when I first heard it, I didn't really know Slick Rick up until I was getting kind of doing some hip-hop digging into the history in the mid-90s and just thinking, what the hell is this? This is amazing. I think I own it on tape. I think that's why I don't have the CD here. So in this song, in this interlude in the middle of the album, he talks about The Ruler's Back, his second album that was recorded while he was on 3 weeks of bail. If you haven't seen Def Goldblum's video on Slick Rick, it's a pretty good introduction. That's where I got most of this information. And then the song Behind Bars, which he recorded while he was actually in jail. And then he gets out of jail and releases The Art of Storytelling, an album I remember very well because it was like, oh my God, this guy came back. He's out of jail. He's recording and going toe-to-toe with Raekwon the Chef and Outkast back in 1999. So I would say that's one classic album, one great comeback album, really a spectacular comeback album, two fine albums that were in different states of incarceration. Rick? Oh, Ricky! Where'd you go? Where did he go from 1999 to 2025? I don't know. He disappeared. He's doing other stuff. He'd make appearances here and there. He was on the West Side Gun album. But where did he go? We don't know, but this is a crazy... Okay, somebody knows. Feel free to tell me in the comments. But this is a crazy gap in time. 1999 to 2025. This is somebody who was already basically Encino-manned by prison. So he was already basically like frozen in a block of ice and then taken out when he got out of jail. And then he releases an album, and now time has gone for where he's gone from being in his 30s to now being 60. And he releases this album. So what's this album going to be? It's unbelievable. It is a unbelievable album. I'm not saying it's like a masterpiece, but it is hard to even believe. It is hard to understand. It is an incredible album. It is a strange, strange album. He is doing something which another hip-hop legend did, The Force by LL Cool J, which I cannot recommend this album enough, all produced by Q-Tip, where when you're in your late career, you can basically do two things. You can be a greatest hits act, and if you release a new album, you can just only do is just make references to your old stuff and hope people will sit through it while they watch you in concert. Or you can try to do something new and different and interesting. And Slick Rick, with his fifth album, first since before Columbine, okay, or whatever, right around the time that Columbine happened, like for that long, 26 years, he releases something new and something brave and something unexpected, something which is worthy of the complex and complicated legacy that he has already left. It is a weird, weird album. It's weird. Now it's on mass appeal, and just let's take a little second to praise Nas. All right, I have a complicated relationship with Nas fans because I was initially perhaps flippant in my own personal lack of total adulation of Nas. Okay, but as time goes on, I basically realize everyone who hates me is right in how great Nas is. And the reason that I've ever seen Slick Rick in concert was because of the concert that Nas put together in the Bronx, the Hip Hop 50, which had all the old school artists and a bunch of new school artists. And I remember seeing Slick Rick and thinking, wow, he's still got it. So props to Nas for like not just saying like I respect my elders, but really putting them on, really putting his name, his reputation, his money, his effort behind making sure that somebody who inspired him 40 years ago is still getting his respect. But it's a weird album. It's good, it's bad, it's weird. It's not really bad. It's good, and it's eyebrow-raising. It's about his legacy. It's about his life. It's about some new things, and it's not a throwback album. It's not actually an album where he just keeps on saying what a legend he is. With the exception of that song, I Did That. It's not that. And there's a lot of storytelling. But listen, if you were a rapper, right, and the thing you were most famous for was being a storyteller, how hard's that going to be, Just throw together a couple songs that say, like, I'm a legend, I'd la-dee-da-deed, all over the Mona Lisa, right? Like, you could just do something like that. But he doesn't do that. His storytelling has evolved. And it's, like, a lot closer to Ghostface Killah than it is to Slick Rick. This is an obscure album. This is a difficult album to parse. You'll listen to the whole lyrics and you think you know what it is. And then it's like, what the hell is he saying? There are some songs on here like where I think he's talking about some truly despicable stuff, but I can't even really totally, even lyrics in front of me, know exactly what he's talking about. To me, this is great. The fact that I'm this confused, that I'm this engaged, that I'm this interested with a new rap album from somebody who is like legitimately old, not just like old in a rap sense, but like, I don't know. I'm almost 50, so maybe I shouldn't say old. But I can't think of a rap album from somebody who is 60 that I like this much. I guess I'll put it that way. And also, hey, Andre 3000. You see what's going on? Remember the guy that you rapped with back in 1999 when he was the old head and you were the young buck? Well, guess what, buddy? He just released an album that's really good and interesting. So I'm not saying put down the flute. This is what you do. You also rap. Okay. So it starts off with the song Victory Intro. And what does it start with? Bam, 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 which is the sound from Cape Fear. Cape Fear, the Scorsese remake of the Robert Mitchum classic from 1992, I want to say, starring Nick Nolte, Robert De Niro, about a guy who gets out of jail and gets revenge. So just right off the bat, you have this cool idea of him still, getting out of jail, and there's a definition of victory. It's kind of a tautology, where you say like something is what it is because that's what it is. They define victory and then they define success, and then the last word of the definition for success is victory. So it's just a circle, but who cares? Because then we get to the song Stress, which is this cool boom bap beat. By the way, Slick Rick is either producing or co-producing this entire album. He knows how to make music. He studied music. He's a good producer. What has he been doing from 1999 to 2026? Actually, I know. I'll tell you in a second. And this whole chorus, on me, soul hungry, I'm lonely, console me, crony, I'm stressed. And I think it's Idris Elba saying, stressed, bring that ass finger licking, make that ass wiggle little, kinda sad here in Britain, I'm stressed. Bring that black power up, now watch how I bop now, though a N-word was stressed. Now alive, N-word, I will survive, N-word, high, N-word, drive, and like this whole like flow, bring that ass finger lick and make that ass wiggle little, kind of sad here in Britain. What's he saying? To me, this is Ghostface Register. This is like bizarre, just word salad, things that sound good, but I love the chorus at the end. His voice is so cool, so confident. The nice thing about Slick Rick is, he was never a yeller, right? He's always just a talker or just kind of a guy who's close to his microphone, which is a thing that they realized in the mid-'80s. Speaking of Rakim, helped to popularize this idea that you didn't need to yell to be a rap star because you didn't need to just be on stage. It could be something that's recorded. And it's great. And then Gigs comes on, this British connection. This album is very cognizant of his British roots. I think it's important because that's the truth of who he is. Gigs makes the most Was this recorded in like 2005? You remember that TV show Heroes? Do you remember that show Heroes? It was like a NBC response to Lost. And it was like kind of good, but not really. And you watched the first season and you gassed it up because you really wanted it to be as good as Lost. And then it just wasn't. No hero, man. Ain't Mohinder. Talk about Mohinder, the character from Heroes? I don't know. That's what's weird is when you had this long break between albums. I mean, I don't think Giggs was recording back then. But anyway, Angelic, blessed is the meek, this great underwater beat, gentle voice. He's not trying too hard. This fun chorus. I don't know what he's talking about, but let's just hear the lyrics. This time with less censorship. Who told me I should quit, daddy? Bore me broad. Body starts to dip, daddy. Holy shit, kid. Big time in this bitch, daddy. Hold the force. Who's sexier than a bitch, daddy? That's a bar. Angelic type of hit, daddy. Crash me car. I don't know what it means. You tell me. It's angelic, whatever it is. Next track's called Foreign. Okay. So the thing that gets lost is that now we are in, our third generation of hip-hop? But the first generation of hip-hop, we're talking old school, incredibly old school. Shout out Futurama. There was a real culture clash, a real generational clash. And part of what made DJ Kool Herc so important was when he basically invented hip-hop by sampling songs and repeating the breaks as well as he could until Grandmaster Flash perfected the technique. He didn't do what was popular. He didn't do what was poppin'. He didn't do the disco. He didn't do that. He intentionally played music of his parents' generation. So that's why it was all James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, rest in peace, right? So that's like the basis of hip-hop in the olden days, is young kids in the 70s playing the music of the 60s that their parents liked, but turning them into the hippin' and the hoppin'. So in these early days, that generational conflict was key, was crucial, because it was this lack of understanding while at the same time being paid homage. That's what was happening. So when Slick Rick starts the song, Grandpa, Hear What I Did With Your Song, it's essentially a love letter to hip-hop. He made a video. There's a movie that accompanies this album, and he says this album is his love letter to hip-hop, and that's what this is. And you hear the old man just say, "What you do with me record," but it sounds really, it's in a sort of Jamaican patois because it's a Jamaican record, and I love it. I love it because that's what happened. That's the generational rupture of hip-hop as told by a 60-year-old dude who at this point is closer to his grandfather in age than he is to these young kids. Custom me gone in London me come from, duplicate study man airport grand command. What me say is everyday dis. I say half more young bun, come on, move mom daddy champ, smooth on song, no wonder, center enter extended adventure. I went ahead wobbling, Dublin, Britain in trouble, and cuss a ragamuffin love. It doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter what he's saying in this little brief song. The actual content isn't what counts here. It's the form of this idea of what do you think of how I changed your song? Beautiful. And of course, grandfather then said, it's pure trash. Then we get to I Did That, the song I already explained. Then Come On, Let's Go. I'm sorry. Oh, that's absolutely nobody asking for Slick Rick to release a house song in 2025. Absolutely nobody wanted this. But you know what? It's awesome. It's great. I love house beats. I love Slick Rick. I don't care. You know who else doesn't care? Slick Rick doesn't give a fuck. He's just going to release a house song. He's not trying to ride any wave. He's just like, yeah, I want to release a house song. So he makes a house song and just puts it on the album. Again, props to Mass Appeal, props to Nas for letting him do this. Because what you want when you hear an old guy's releasing an album is you want him to get on there and just say a couple of his old famous lines so you can go, oh, I remember, Pops, there was some good stuff you did back in the... Remember the Kangol boy? Dana Dane? Oh my God. Yeah, I know. Oh, it was great. Hip hop, right? No, he's just doing some new stuff. I mean, new-ish stuff. I mean, he's not like doing like hyper pop. He's just doing stuff that would have sounded kind of new and fresh in the 90s, but who knows? Whoops. Sorry about that. My computer's touchy. A great song to go to in the gym and work out, and Idris Elba's on here. One more round of the brown, Richard. Love it. Then we get to the most enigmatic song on the album. Landlord. With an 80s reggae sample. And it's awesome, you know, because like in this time that we live in, where rents are through the roof, the ability to buy a house is basically impossible. We need more songs that talk about the evils of landlords, how they own property and make money for doing nothing, just for having capital. It reminds me of the song Dear Landlord by Bob Dylan. Please don't put a price on my soul, my burden is heavy and my dreams are beyond control. Oh, no, wait a minute, one second. Let me read these lyrics a little bit better from Slick Rick. Oh no, this is about being a landlord and about how people who rent your houses are trash. This is a This is a pro landlord song in 2025. When I tell you Slick Rick doesn't give a fuck, this is what I'm talking about. This is sympathy for the landlord, sympathy for the person who's earning passive income, sympathy for somebody who is, as many people see it, someone who exploits people who don't have more. Now listen, I'm not inherently against landlords. I know I'm supposed to be because I'm a leftist and I'm on YouTube. I don't think it's that cut and dry. I don't think it's that simple. But still, making a song in favor of, I have had landlords in my life. More of them were bad than good. Over there on Franklin Ave in L.A., I asked my landlord, I said, there's no outlets. There's no outlets in my bedroom. You do need outlets in a bedroom. A couple weeks later, sends in her cousin. Her cousin puts a outlet in the wall, in the side of the wall, and it's completely crooked. He wasn't a licensed and bonded electrician. He was her cousin. Anyways, did I get my security deposit back? No. Did I pay for a cleaner to clean it up so it looked good? Yes. All right. Landlords. Who loves them? Nobody. But this is a fascinating idea because it's actually aspirational, because we don't take this out of the context. This is not a landlord like, I don't know, some sleazy son of a land developer who is given properties by his daddy so he can pretend to be a big real estate man, right? It's not that kind of little pathetic piece of shit. Okay? It's not that guy. This is a guy who is English, Jamaican, and American, who moved to America, who lived the American dream, who used through his guile and wits, managed to rise up through an art form, managed to make his way through the criminal justice system, and arrived in a place where he, instead of being exploited, could do the exploiting, if that's your perspective on landlords, or from a position of somebody who paid rent to somebody who collected rent. In a way, this is like the middle-age equivalent, because it's all about, it's not easy being a landlord. And I'm sure it's not. You get all these little 24-year-old pissants asking you for asking you for power outlets. Get an extension cord, you bum. You know? Like it's not easy. You know what else isn't easy? Pimping ain't easy. We know pimping ain't easy. We know drug dealing isn't easy. We know that the ways that people end up making a living in America or in the world is not easy. So this is like a song for people who have made it out of the mud, figured out how to own property. This is like the continuation of the story of OJ. You know, how do you make money? You have to follow the rules of being rich. And that includes buying a property. Apparently, according to a video I saw that he did with Nas, you know, he owns a couple townhouses in the Bronx. So I don't know. It is a fascinating song because he does not care. He's 60 years old and he doesn't care. You don't like your landlord? You think landlords are parasitic? I don't care. Here's the life of a landlord. And I got to tell you, it's a good song. So much racket, other tenants couldn't hack it. Using the homophone of tenants and tennis racket, other tenants couldn't hack it. Beautiful, beautiful, funny homophone. And then just this whole... these whole verses. It's his story. Slick Rick the storyteller. First of all, could you imagine Slick Rick being your landlord? He shows up with his eye patch, a big crown, all the jewels. Anyways, very funny. Very, yes. I would have been less grumpy at my landlord in L.A. Oh man, and then I had that weird landlord in Oakland who's a French guy who believed that the French Revolution was a joke, and he like legitimately followed the king of France, like the heir of France from like 1793 or whatever. Guy was weird. He whistled all the time. Anyways, so shit sound like a riot till I rang the doorbell and everybody got quiet. Give me my rent. This is his story. Here he is. And talks a little bit about the resentment, about him being a black landlord and having black tenants and feeling like he abandoned his people, which makes sense. I mean, he's talking about a real thing. The door unlocked. They went, Rick, I said, you know what time it is. Please up the rent quick. My rent? What am I going to do with them? I don't buy houses just for them to come and ruin them. Though I'm popping mad shit, they had to listen. I know this type of attitude might send me back to prison. Getting my rent from the bitch like hell. It's then be trying to move in stupid relatives. Couldn't start to count the men the bitch went through. Dude, the anger that he's showing here. Couldn't start to count the men the bitch went through. They'd be giving me mad problems my rent's due. You need it now? Mandatory, miss. And if you could keep the place clean, you unsanitary bitch. I mean, he's really losing it. Roaches, mice, kept floor sloppily. Chick, you know you're lowering the value of my property. Forgot where I came from to talk. Being a landlord in the city of New York, it's not easy. Then there's a song called Mother Teresa. Again, I assume this is implying that Mother Teresa was a good person. She wasn't. Look it up. Just look it up. I don't know why. It's like the third time I've had to say this like this month. But nope, not a good person. Look it up. Find the work of Christopher Hitchens. You'll find that. Anyways, but it's interesting because it's a song saying that we have done so much for so long with so little that we are now qualified to do anything. It's this freedom that he has in this position. Then we get to the song Spirit to Cry, which sounds like it might be about something, but I don't know what it's about. Nice loop with the piano. They want my spirit to cry. What is the song? I don't know what the song's about. Listen to this word salad. And I say word salad with respect because he crafts it in a way that sounds good and interesting. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't necessarily, I don't know what it means. No leadership in charge, man. Floyd fam and that marriage like a goddamn cock ran. Always want to see a chick hurt, so always got to be up on this nerd expert. Up on a G, won't stop bother me. Wanna be Greek mythology in front of me. Vocab is just a nuisance. Gardening is useless. This is straight Ghostface style. Then we get to the song that everyone skips to, Documents featuring Nas, this great high and low beat. The beats all the way throughout this album, they're all good. There's not a single bad beat on here. Nice kind of whiny beat here. I don't know what Slick Rick is saying, but I do know he says, hush for me, Jimmy, Mr. White Collar Crimmy. He's calling himself a white collar criminal, a white collar crimmy. Maybe he's stealing the stimmy. And then Nas, again, he truly honors hip-hop at every single turn. It makes sense. Like in the great Nas and Jay-Z battle, Jay-Z is out here buying buildings, being a landlord, buying companies, being a businessman. And as much as I prefer Jay-Z to Nas, which I do, I gotta be honest that this right here, this is how you respect your elders. He's so good. Go Yard, Place Your Bets, Subway Series, Yank and Mets. So it's great because it's like Yank and Mets. So it's kind of playing around on the idea that like that British people call Americans Yankees, but also the Yankees are in the Bronx and the Mets are in Queens. So Nas is from Queens, and Slick Rick is from the Bronx. So that's Yankees and the Mets. Who are the best storytellers? Keep it a Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain, who once scored 100 points in a game. So keep it 100. Keep it honest. These are the best storytellers in rap. Nas and Slick Rick. Respected like Stringer Bell and Barksdale, Avon, making a callback to The Wire, which is also a callback to the character played by Idris Elba, who's also all over the album and in the little movie thingy. Very cool. So it's a goofy, fun song that shows these two great rappers working together. Then we get to a song where I said, uh-oh, I saw the title track. I saw the title of the track, and I said, uh-oh, so you're having my baby. Uh-oh, what's this song going to be? This is the guy who treated her like a prostitute. That was the first track off that great classic album. Scratching on a baby going, wah, it's a killer bass line. Reminding them, like I'm Shine. Okay, why is he referencing Shine? Yeah, that's right. I lost my copy of The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, but I still have my copy of Bad Boys Shine. Okay? Now, what's the similarity? Shine went to jail for something that Puffy did, allegedly. Shine went to jail. So, okay, maybe that's why. What is the song about? No, I'm serious. It seems like, okay, then a month or so, he talks about meeting a woman at a strip club. Then a month or so, confronts me, bro, says, me as the daddy, oh, please, told my homie, get the shovel. What? Get the shovel? So he's going to kill her? Like, I don't know what this is. I think I know the Shine thing, though. Because you see, Shine had the song Bad Boy, and Bad Boy samples I'm Broader Than Broadway, the Barrington Levy song. Here I come, skilly bop, skilly whoa, whoa, whoa. Should take elevator because the elevator won't come. And the whole song is about a woman confronting Barrington Levy, saying that she has his son, and he's basically just going to abandon her. That's what the song, Here I Come, the song that's sampled on Shine. I think that's on purpose. So I think what he's saying is he's either going to, I think the song's implying he's going to kill this woman. So again, his story, I don't know. But then if you watch the movie, don't watch the movie. Dude's got vagina cam. Yeah. There is a filter over the camera. I'm just saying, now you're going to look. Then we get to 'Cause I'm Here. Absolutely nobody wanted the House Slick Rick stuff, but he brings it, and it's good. He talks about this was before my marriage, making it clear that he's going to be telling a freaky story, but that it's before he got married. Slick Rick doesn't care. I don't know. This is like a song about thinking he's going to have a menage a trois, and then one of the women getting mad because they're actually a couple, they're a lesbian couple, and so he's being pushed back. Anyway, gays, give her wifey space until I'm up in her face. He says, rainbow flag. He makes reference to Ellen DeGeneres and Rosie O'Donnell. It's like... I can't even tell if it's homophobic. Like, it feels like it probably is. The same way that it felt like she's having my baby is like sexist. But the way it's written is obscure enough that it's not entirely clear. Matrix just talks about a glitch in the Matrix. Then we get to the song We're Not Losing, probably my favorite beat on the album, killer old school Wu-Tang beat. And I don't know what he's saying. Is this a Republican conservative song, or like the song of a landlord, or is this a song that's like fighting against the injustices of our current administration? I can't tell because of the way it's written. We're not losing, get moving, lost moral of white youth, leave a footprint, ass, dehumanized, managed, supposed to be part of your uncivilized planet, boot, pastor. About to be a nuclear disaster. These assholes, a bitch high class, or to whom it may concern, mishandling. Great. Now they want me to learn to speak Mandarin. Ricky! Yes? What are you talking about in the song? I don't know. It feels like, talking about the dehumanization that happens through white supremacy, but then this, like, they want me to speak Mandarin feels weirdly conspiratorial and potentially anti-Asian. I don't know. I can't figure out what this is about. Anyway, I'm bothering, acting like a snob, something I can offer them, while on the flip side, bring back jobs too. Who they trying to blame, kid? Talking all this trade shit. Two-faced, brainwash the public while Mexican and others, cheap labor enough, send Bolt to disgrace when an agent named Ethnic insult to his race. I can't tell if this is... I believe this is a song about the injustices of our current administration and the way that they depict people who immigrate to our country and work the jobs that... But I can't figure it out. And then it ends with him doing a bad fake Chinese accent, asking how to say bounce bitch in Chinese. Complicated legacy of Slick Rick. You see, it'd be a lot easier, 35 minutes in, it'd be a lot easier for me to say, hey, the ruler's back, this album's good, Slick Rick rules, remember the old school, Kangol, Dana Dane, Dougie Fresh. By the way, Dougie Fresh at the Hip Hop 50 concert, dude has not missed a beat. I don't know if beatboxing keeps you young. I don't think it does. We've lost the two other great beatboxers, Buffy and Bismarcky. But anyways, another great adventure. Cool, cute Q-tip. Q-Tip beat another place me into another creepy adventure. In this song, he implies that the current president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, had a special needs child who he murdered. That's what's implied here. It's about having a special needs child, grown, and she peeing on the floor in front of company. How the fuck is, how am I going to stop this? Doesn't help. Trying to run for public office. Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry. Shit's so embarrassing. So Carrie, she's some fair squirt dripping. Anyone seen my daughter? She's missing. I had to end the child, my youngin'. Got them all looking around for a pedophile or something. It's a song, a story told from the perspective of somebody who's running for public office and has to murder his child to spare himself from embarrassment. And then you hear, "Hail to the chief." Dun, 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 dun. There it is, everybody. The complex, complicated legacy of Slick Rick. All in one album. It's a very good album. It's a very good comeback album. It's confused in its ideology. It's challenging. And most importantly, it doesn't care. It just doesn't care. It is fearless. Sorry, I just see my dog. He's just staring at me. Sorry, Bo. All right. Well, I'm going to end this video. But first, I'm going to take you to go see Bo. Because, you know, old dogs need their day. But the microphone's going to stay there. So. You're standing up and doing cool stuff. There's the camera.